Hello and welcome to the unofficial Bozero Senior Hockey League podcast. I'm your host, Corey, joined by my co-host, Corey.
You almost forget your own name there?
Yeah, it's a bad sign of how old I'm getting. How you doing, Corey?
I am doing fantastic. How about you?
Good, man, good. I went to my doctor this morning, and she pulled out my chart, and she goes, "Oh, you just turned 40." And I was like, "Thanks for reminding me." And she's like, "Oh, your blood pressure is like phenomenal." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks." So I've been walking more. I've been trying to do a little more exercise in,
There
so
you go.
eating a little better too. So no, less rink food.
Wait till the season starts.
Christ, gotta lose the weight now because I might be screwed then. Whatever, it's okay. It's only a couple times a week. It'll be fine. Yeah, man, you're still busy at the shop.
Busy as hell. Enjoying it though. Making
You're
money.
only you only do lobster processing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
right
all
on.
we've ever done.
Yeah, okay. I thought so. That's hard work though. Man, I've had a good week, busy week. Not I don't know, not been up to too much. Actually, got some rest in. Went to the beach. Went to the cottage.
Yeah.
Went for a walk with Colby. Now I got to tell you, Colby's a good boy, but Colby's terrified of water, and
Is
he's like a Beagle Husky mix. And so if the water gets up near his paws, he like runs back 10 feet. It's the saddest thing you'll ever see in your life.
See,
But
that's weird. My Maggie loves water. The second she sees water, she jumps.
yeah, most dogs, a lot of dogs love water, but yeah, Colby's just not a fan. So yeah, we've been trying to go for some walks on the weekend. It's been fun. It's been good. What'd you do on your day off? I think you only had one day off again this week, right?
Yeah. Did a whole lot of nothing.
You
Yeah,
needed it.
just I needed it and it still wasn't enough. But it's like I always say, there's a finish line at the end. So, funny enough, at work, I had a couple of coworkers come up to me and say, "Put foot in the door."
Oh, yeah, it was your stupid quote from last week.
My stupid quote from last week, and I just been getting roasted for
Oh,
my
good.
poor English and French.
Yeah, I know. That's the problem with you. You're just French enough that your English sucks, but you've spoken English for too long, so your French kind of sucks too. You're
I'm
like in the permanent lingo of Chiac.
yeah, I'm way better at English than French, and French is my first language.
I think your French is perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't give yourself enough credit, but I think if you practiced it a little bit, it would come right back.
Might have a little bit more practice at some point.
I think we might be starting to use it a little bit more here in the fall. I think, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good premonition by you. Um, so yeah, it's your one day off. I was off the weekend and went. I'm always off the weekend. I don't know why I said that, but Saturday we went to Doaktown or just past Doaktown to a little town of I can't remember what the hell that town was called. Damn it! Let me pull it up on my phone. It's a little town past Doaktown.
Little town past Doaktown.
Little town past Doaktown, which is
Maybe it's called Little Town past Doaktown.
Doaktown is also a little town. New Bandon, New Brunswick to the
It,
ball
it,
field.
it's the newly abandoned city.
It's a nice little town. To the ball field, which is a road. Adam told me like it's not easy to find, and you might just drive right by it. And I was like, yeah, we got a GPS, no problem. Almost drove right by it. It kind of just comes out of nowhere at like an angle, and then you just turn in. Anyway, we got there and went and checked out the lumberjack softball tournament, which was a great time. I can say that some of those lumberjacks are great athletes, and it's obvious that they're good at multiple sports. Some of them not so much, and that's okay. I know Adam had a pretty good time, and God, I can't even remember the name of the team that won. It's blanking on me, but I know Mark Bett's team won. So congrats to them.
Congrats.
It's you saw some of the pictures. It looked like
I
it was a
did.
pretty good time, gonna be honest with
Yeah.
you. Got there, saw Calvin, saw Al. Really happy to see those guys. I think they were equally happy to see at least Tracy. Maybe not me, but they're happy to see Tracy. Um, it's just people that we got to know over the course of the year. and it was nice to see them. And it was a well-organized tournament. They did a really good job with it. It's a nice fundraiser.
Yeah.
The only thing that was missing was Corey. Wish Corey would have been there.
Yeah.
A couple of people actually asked, oh, Corey's not here. And I was like, nah, Corey's working. Corey works like 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. So he's been busy, but just know that they missed you there apparently. So
well,
nice
that's
people
good to hear. Doaktown's always been a fantastic place. The people there, I think Doaktown and Dalhousie might be the two places we've made the most friends this season. Like, it's not fair to say we're Shibuktu and Bucktouche because we're from here, so we know everybody.
Yeah.
But Doaktown
Denzel's
and Dalhousie.
Denzel's team is the team that won, which included Mark Betts, who coincidentally enough is our guest this week on the podcast.
Absolutely.
You did not get to that episode. You were working, but I sent it to you as soon as you got home and you listened to it. And
I tried to make it. Yeah, I tried to make it. And by the time I got home, he had already recorded it. And it's not a big deal. I work, but I tried to make it.
Mark is a funny guy, very talkative guy, knowledgeable about hockey. And it was great to have him on. We'd been talking about him coming on since October, November. You remember we were driving home that one game and he started talking about that?
Yeah.
And it's really something, the impact that the BSHL's had on that community, on that rink. And it's a great story. Love it. They had a great run last year. I think there's going to be a lot of guys back this fall for the Lumberjacks. And you got to think they're going to be competing once again.
No, you got to imagine, are they going to want to be the Florida Panthers? Make it to the finals 2 times in a row.
Are Dalhousie going to want to be the Florida Panthers? Make it to the finals 2 times in a row. What if that's the final again?
I think that it's nothing but money. I think that makes a rivalry there. They're not that far apart. I mean, go up for it.
Everybody's far from Dalhousie. Man, Dalhousie's far, but super worth it. It's totally worth the trip. I'd take that again. That would be fun. But yeah, the tournament was great. They had burgers and hot dogs on the barbecue. Al was working the barbecue, so it was good to see him. You know Al, right? The trainer.
Yeah, I do.
So it was great to see him, and the burgers were good. I'm going to tell you, the burgers were good. Were they as good as the rink burger?
I'd say no.
Probably not. The rink burger is something special, but they were good. It was a good time. Got to see Chantal and Richard and all those guys. Adam had left right before we got there because he had to get to a dance recital for one of his kids. Perfect excuse to avoid us, right? Like, what a great excuse. Typical Adam. What are you going to do? But I do understand that his kids gave him the old rum when he was running down the field, which
hilarious.
Made my day. That somebody roasted him.
You know what's funny about that? That's one thing that I just said randomly, and it's taken a life of its own.
It's the greatest thing you ever said, I think.
I think it is.
The second greatest. The greatest was when I called you to be on the podcast, and you said, "Sure, sounds like fun." That's the greatest. That was a good. That worked out pretty well for both of us.
I think it worked out pretty good.
Yeah, that was a good decision for me and for you. But yeah, that was a good Saturday. There was some announcements. There was some hockey news this past week, Corey.
There was.
The Bucktouche JCs announcing some coaching additions. One of them's a former Wildcat. Do you remember when he played for the Wildcats, Corey?
I do not.
It was the hair before your time following them. I was a huge Wildcats fan from like 99 through 2004, 2005. And then life just got busy. But they announced co-coaches, one of them being Marc LeBlanc, who I'm not very familiar with, but, welcome to the league, Mark. We're happy to see some new coaching staff in Bucktouche. Huge thank you to Johnny Pellerin for grabbing the reins last year. And, it was a hard year for the JCs, but it was a rebuilding year. And I think it would have been a tougher year without Johnny steering it. So, I hope that he's back this year in his former position. And the other coach they announced, so the co-coaches, one was Marc LeBlanc, the other one's Ryan Salvis. So that's a big announcement.
Absolutely.
And I was talking with a couple people, and they said the one thing that Salvis is going to bring, and Mark LeBlanc as well, but like guys are going to want to go play for those guys.
Yeah.
I think Salvis was on the Allen Cup team when they went for it,
Okay.
when they hosted, and he's a former JC, and that helps.
Yes.
You've got that leadership. I think you've got a young JC's team coming back again next year, and I think those two guys are going to steer them in the right direction because the JCs only got better and better as the year went on last year.
Yes, they did.
So I fully expect that this is going to be a much better year for the JCs, and I can't wait to get back to the JK where we were a couple weeks ago, watching some hockey.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite arena. There's something about that arena that just feels like home.
It's because you get to go see your mom before the game.
There you go.
Does she make you like a poutine or something before the game, or it was soup last time, wasn't it?
Soup. It was soup. Let's be frank. I basically live with my mom sometimes
during lobster season for sure.
During lobster season, and a little bit more now because my stepdad's in a wheelchair. He's had multiple strokes.
Yeah.
My mom's she's no spring chicken. She's in her 60s now.
Oh, so, your mom's gonna jab at you for that one. Listen, mom. Listen, Mama Corey. I don't think you're anything but a young chicken. You're fine. You're not that old. My mom is not a spring chicken. Let me tell you. Mama podcast is getting.
The thing is, I like to be around, and just in case something.
Yeah.
My stepdad falls. It's happened before. Just gets a little overwhelming, so I like to be around pretty often. So
tell me this: is a part of the reason that you want to be in Bucktouche a little bit more than you want to be down here because the Tim Hortons and Richard Buckto's kind of not that great, and the Tim Hortons and Bucktouche is slightly better? Is that a little part of it?
Jeez,
he's laughing at that one.
I'm gonna say no comment.
No comment.
I went to Tim Hortons yesterday. So we're recording on Monday. So I have a goddaughter. My goddaughter Soraya.
Yep.
My friend Michelle's kid.
She's been to some Hawks games with us.
Yes. Yes, she has.
Yep.
And Soraya wanted to see Minogue. She hadn't seen Minogue. Minogue is me. I'm not gonna say I helped raise her, but when Michelle used to live with me, I was always with Soraya, and now it's not as often. And she's turning 9 this year, which blows my mind. And she wanted to see Minogue. So I went to Tim Hortons yesterday with Soraya and Michelle, and we stayed in line, not at the drive-thru, inside for 45 minutes.
Whew.
So I'm not going to crap on Rishi Bucktu, and I'm not going to crap on Bucktouche. I'm just going to say no comment.
Yeah, I think Richard Buckto's been actually pretty good lately. I think they do the best that they can.
Yeah.
Staffing issues everywhere has become a major problem. Yeah, and everybody's doing the best that they can, but it's tough when you go there and there's 10 people inside and 12 people lined up outside and 3 workers. Yeah. What can you do?
I will say this in Bucktouche. I go to Bucktouche more than Rishi Bucktu.
Yeah.
The staff in Bucktouche are very nice.
Yeah.
They do the best they can. And Rishi Bucktu as well.
I've been there Rishi Bucktu is pretty great.
So,
it's just been like a running joke from everybody around Rishi Bucktu about how bad the Tims is. And I'm like, yeah, you know, they do their best.
I go to Bucktouche and Saint Louis more than anything else. So
what's your order when you go to Tim Hortons?
Usually, well, here's the thing. Usually it's a coffee. Medium double. If I'm hungry, it depends on the day. Farmer's breakfast wrap is pretty good. I got addicted to the sour cream glazed donuts.
Okay.
That is a weird addiction. Those are like really, really good.
I like I like the Simply sausage. And if I want to get really spicy, the Simply sausage on the cheese tea biscuit.
Okay.
Really good. I like their cheese tea biscuits a lot. And then just a coffee. I'm like 2 milk, 1 sugar. I tried 2 milk, no sugar for a while. I really like a little bit of sweetness in there. So I'm 2 milk, 1 sugar. I've just resigned myself to 2 milk, 1 sugar.
It's funny, as you get older, the coffee starts getting sweeter, and I went from cream to milk, and now that's sort of getting a little sweet. So now it's like at home, it's 1 sugar, 1 milk, but you know,
Interesting. I know my father, when he was around my age, started drinking his coffee black, and I don't think I'm remotely man enough to do it. But yeah, I definitely don't drink it as sweet as I used to. What what's the next wrestling show we're going to, Corey? Is there anything on the horizon?
believe it would be July. I don't think there's anything in June.
Nothing that's terrible. Well, I mean, there's that Riverview Sun Fest show by IHW at the arena in Riverview. That's kind of tempting, so I might make my way there. We'll see. What's tempting about that for me is that they actually have bleachers, so I can kind of just sit in the bleachers and scream at boys and tell them how much he sucks, but from afar. It'll be like an owl just screaming at him. But
See,
yeah, you're right.
See, if I'm not working a lot, I'd like to go see that IHW show. But yeah, we got, I believe in July, at least 3 events that we're going to.
Two and 2 nights. So there's North Pro at the Tide and Boar again, obviously. This one's in partnership with UCW, right? So
yes,
that's a pretty exciting show. Should be fun. The next night is Mythos Ragnarok in Riverview. Yeah, a little theater, which I'm really looking forward to. They come from England, but they've also been at, God, I can't remember the name of it, but something in Australia. Oh man, it is blanking on me. Tonight's a rough night. Anyway, they've kind of taken this around the world. Now they're taking it to the Maritimes because Madison Miles is in the play, and she's a maritime wrestler. Who lived in England for a long time and is now back in Canada. So we're happy to see Madison back in Canada. I can't wait to see her in the ring.
Yeah, if you follow Wrestling with the Bros, Corey's happiest moment on Wrestling with the Bros is when he explained to me Mythos Ragnarok, and I had no clue what it is. And he was like, I own this. Something you don't know.
It was only like 9 months ago or something, too. Like, it wasn't that long ago. But yeah, it's going to be in Riverview in July. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite. You can check out Dave Boyce on Facebook if you want to see links to that. But it looks incredible. I can't wait to get there. And then I think 1 week later, we're going to be in Spring Hill for a Dave Boyce Championship Wrestling show in Spring Hill, Nova Scotia. Am I correct?
I think it's Dave Boyce Championship Wrestling, yeah.
In Spring Hill. I really hope that they have the canteen open.
Oh, that'd be sweet. Oh.
Yeah, you just hit you. You're like, Paisanos! Yeah, that would be pretty sweet. That would be pretty sweet.
Great.
Oh, man, it would be wonderful. What rumors are you hearing right now? Anything from the league?
From the hockey league?
From the hockey league.
I'm hearing that there are these 2 very handsome men that will be continuing to do a podcast.
I've heard the same thing.
Yeah.
I've also heard that there might be a team that's going to be relocating, but not very far. Not going to confirm it until they're willing to release the information. But I've heard that there will be a relocation, but it's not really going to affect too much for the fans, I don't think. And yeah, I think that's, we've heard a lot of talk about Northman players possibly going and playing for the Lumberjacks, or Lumberjacks players possibly going and playing for the Northmen, because some played minor hockey in Miramichi and vice versa. So there's kind of like this. But until things are officially announced a little bit closer to the season, it's tough to say. The one thing I'm willing to get on the ledge and say is Trey Lewis will be back playing for the Hawks next year.
As we want him to.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the guys are going to be back, but it's nice to see that coaching announcement. It's nice to see stuff start to come out. Corey's dog's wanting to be a part of the podcast tonight, and that's fine. Just let her in.
There she is.
Absolutely. She gets to.
That is the daily dog that passes by here with a very slow lady.
What is she saying?
Maggie.
What? I think she's saying Cheryl stay out of the locker room. Not positive.
I think it is.
Oh, Maggie, yeah. Nashville chicken. You can only get that in Nashville. Wow, interesting. Maggie's on our side is what I'm learning here.
Yeah, Maggie. I think Maggie and Colby would make a great couple.
They'd be good friends, I think. Yeah, they'd be pretty good friends. We're going to go to that Mark Betts interview here and I enjoyed it. He talked a lot about minor hockey in Doaktown, possible future plans for. Ideally, they'd love to get a a high school team going in that area. I think that's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Also talked about how great his burger was. Surprise, surprise. That was a good interview. I enjoyed Mark a lot. He's a nice guy. And,
Very nice
I don't
guy.
know if any rink manager helped us out more last year than Mark Betts.
Yeah, Mart was an ace when it comes to that. Just a wonderful guy.
Yeah, hooked us up with the internet password very early in the year so we could post updates and game clips throughout the year. And then, especially come playoff time, we started streaming and he hooked us up with that internet password. And that internet was phenomenal for the streams in Doaktown.
It
One of the easiest
was
streams that we had.
probably my favorite. I know the mesh wasn't the best, but with me, I got to sit down and record. And
with us.
yeah, and most the fantastic lines that you've heard from me that are now legendary according to some people come from Doaktown.
Yeah, let's see. You've got that's a very tall kid right there. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah,
My favorite of all time, of course, rum 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 rum.
the very tall kid one was there was a child on his father's shoulders,
Yeah,
and he got up, and I just saw this kid keep going up, and that was my immediate reaction. Like, that's a tall kid.
and yet you said it out loud, and I burst out laughing. I enjoyed it.
You and
Yeah,
Tracy both.
there's just something about Doaktown. We're all sitting together. We can set the tripod up in front of us so we can kind of just chill and record. It's easy to record there. So, yeah, I love that rink. Appreciate that Mark's such a big supporter of the podcast.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we'll throw to that interview. Hopefully, you all enjoy it. And we will be back in 1 week with another episode of the podcast. We're getting close to season 2 of the podcast, Corey.
I know. I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait.
So I initially bought my microphone that I've been using in early July with the intention of starting the podcast. I officially created the YouTube channel on July 31st, and I put up my first post the same day, which had no audio in it from me, just odd music and the team names. It was really just a teaser. And yeah, so that's about a month and a half, 2 months away. So it's it's getting close to when everything just started. So it's good. Should be good. We've had an amazing year, some amazing interviews, but I'm looking forward to season 2.
Same here. I remember that video that you posted, and I was like, oh man, this is sweet. This is awesome. And didn't think I'd be a part of it. Glad to be a part of it. One of my absolute passions right now. I work and I think, all right, this team versus that team. Oh, I can't wait to see this team. I want to see every team play right now.
Yeah, we're almost there. All right, enjoy the interview with Mark Betts. Corey, thanks for being here, and we'll see you in a week.
Thank you, and keep both foot on the ice.
Take care.
Take care.
All right, we're back at the podcast. Corey here. Other Corey is working tonight, so he couldn't join me, but I have a special guest who I met really early on this season, actually. I think Adam Story introduced us at my first Lumberjacks game. Mark Betts, the manager of the Prospect Place.
Yeah, that's right. Manage the rank.
Nice. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Yeah, no trouble. Glad to be here.
We've been talking about this one for a while, so glad it happened. So introduce yourself. Tell everyone a little bit more about you.
Yeah, my name is Mark Betts. I manage the rink in Doaktown. I'm a big fan of the Lumberjacks senior team as well. Managing the rink, you get to know the boys a little different. Go in after work and maybe go to the pub with them, have a beer, hang out. I've been friends with Kenny Robinson and those guys, the local guys, David O'Donnell, for a long time. So it's fun to see these guys here doing well. And I mean, without Kenny and Chance Munn, we don't have a hockey team. Our owners and their wives, they're a huge part of it.
Absolutely, man. You guys have a great team. And actually, that was my first comment was just how big of a supporter of the Lumberjacks you are, and how big of a supporter of the Beausejour Senior Hockey League you are. You definitely love senior hockey.
Yeah, I've tried to get, if when work allows it, I try to get. I think it was in every rank this year except for Spring Hill, and went to all the Dalhousie games, I think, except for one. And that's a cool barn, that barn in Dalhousie. That's other than our rink, that's my favorite rink for sure.
Okay, I like it. Yeah, Dalhousie's got a special rink. Yours is, I mean, it's cold, but I personally like the benches. I'm a fan of the benches because I'm not a small dude, so
Yeah, you like to get there early and get your spot, eh?
listen, nobody will hold it for me. God, I don't have the connections. So let's talk a bit about how things were going at Prospect Place before senior hockey came along, because we've talked about it personally.
Yeah, so we lost the rink, and Jody Jardine, who was the rink manager before me, he did an excellent job getting it rolling. The first, I think Jody was there 3 years, 3.5 years, and he got it rolling, but he had to build it from the ground up. Uh, he had to spend a lot of money to get a new rink going. I mean, you got 30 garbage cans, you got paper towel dispensers, you got everything. And Jody got the rink off the ground, and then he actually went to work for Kenny. And then that's where I came in and kind of I built on what Jody did. Um, we had no minor hockey for I think 3.5 years, so our numbers were weak. But we're up over 100 now in our minor hockey. So yeah,
What let's get to that eventually. Lumberjacks season 1. Um, Success came a little bit later. You guys definitely started a little bit rocky, but the one thing, I went to a game in Doaktown fairly early on, and you guys had good crowds almost right away, like pretty solid numbers. Would you say Doaktown's a good senior hockey town?
yeah, the fans have been there since day one. When you come to a Lumberjacks game, you're seeing the same fans day in and day out with a sprinkle of others, but our following is huge. I said it earlier this year. I think senior hockey is one of the only thing that unifies kind of the whole community. We've got a large following from the church community. We've got people like that own businesses. We've got everybody. We've got the whole. Our minor hockey's huge. It's been huge for our minor hockey. So yeah, we've got a great fan sport.
Senior hockey is interesting. Kind of, you have some really good Habs fans, and unfortunately some Leaf fans like yourself too, and
Yeah, that's right.
it unites
I'm a
everybody.
Utah fan now.
Oh,
I'm a
okay, you're
Utah
a Utah
fan now.
fan. I respect that. It's really like one thing though, like bringing these towns together. I see it here in Rishabakta with Elsie, just uniting all the little communities, and I see that a lot in Doaktowns. I've gotten to know some people, and I'll always be like, "Oh, where are you from?" And they're from like neighboring communities, as much as like 20 or 30 minutes away, driving to every game for senior hockey. I love it.
Yeah, we had a huge following out of Fredericton as well. Like we've got a few of the guys like Benji and those guys live out in New Maryland. And Benji, by the way, he's the best freaking captain in the league. And if I had a vote on fight, sorry to get off topic, but if I had a vote on fight of the
No,
year, I think Benji and Trey, fight of the year. Two guys that I think hate each other, that same size, that just beat each other up all over the ice. I think that was the fight of the year. But yeah, we've got the fan support coming from everywhere, really. It's crazy. Doaktown and Stanley were huge rivals for years, and then all of a sudden we somehow pull Zach Whitlock and David Brewer, who were rivals from a lot of these guys for years, and great guys from those surrounding communities. Brandon Dobbelstein again, another guy that from Stanley that you never would think those guys would be over here playing, but here they are.
you talked about that fight, and you talked about Benji Curtis. What makes Benji Curtis the best captain in the league, in your opinion? He's a great captain. I agree.
Benji doesn't take any shifts off. He's finishing every check, whether it's up 7-1, down 7-1, 2-2. Doesn't matter. He's finished his check. He pisses people off. He's good. Um, if you look at the week on the Lumberjacks Facebook page, favorite Lumberjacks, when the little guys go out on the ice, they get a picture taken with their favorite Lumberjack. A lot of times, Benji's in there. Because
Absolutely.
Benji caters to the kids and he does a good job. He's great choice for captain for our team. I'm hoping he's coming back. I haven't heard much hockey chat lately, but I'm pretty sure Benji will be back.
You got to thank the Lumberjacks. I mean, you guys came so close. You had such a great run this year. I hope to see a lot of those guys back, because when you look at season 1, where you guys finished losing to Bucktouche, but like you could see the development of the team and the chemistry. And then season 2 started, and it didn't stop. The chemistry kept going, and you guys went from like, one of those borderline fringe, could win a round of hockey maybe, to halfway through the season. Corey and I were talking like, what's going on here? This team could win the cup, and you came darn close.
Yeah, the boys really elevated their game, and then even in the playoffs, I thought that like all playoffs went to the next level. But yeah, that I think you're going to see a lot more of that same squad that's going to work hard. One thing that I'm not sure if you guys talked about it, but from my experience, the Lumberjacks and Dalhousie were the two teams that all year took their teams on the road. They took their
Yeah.
big guns on the road. Um, sure, it costs a little more money, but you know what? That's why they made it. It takes 20 games to get to gel if you're going to go in 2 or 3 series deep in the playoffs. And a lot of these teams, and I'm not going to name them, I guess, but they don't show up on the road. We have them showing up with 12 games and getting blown out on the road 8-0, and that's something we got to talk about. I think the league's got to talk about is these guys showing up with full squads and giving the home team the games that we want. The best games this year are those games where we went with full squads on the road. We had some great road games.
Yeah, you guys are definitely known to, and you're not wrong. Dalhousie, if you look at their stats, I think they had like 15 guys with almost every regular season game played. And these guys travel from Moncton and everywhere. Like you got to dedicate, but these guys committed. You guys committed again. Another team. You guys have players from Moncton, like Jason Ryu. You've got guys from Fredericton. I mean, it's not next door to Doaktown, but commit and make it happen.
Yeah, commitment's huge. Like I said, you need that to gel come playoff times. You need that to gel for sure.
How big for the community and for the rink was it having that deep playoff run and those crowds, especially against Elsie and Miramichi? You guys had just insane crowds. I mean, we had to get there at like 5 o'clock for an 8 o'clock game. Insane. Must have been huge for you guys.
Massive for the rink. I think I looked at the numbers the other day, and I think we had 21 home games. There's not too many senior teams in the Maritimes that are getting 21 home games in a year. It's huge. I mean, get a call from Tim Hortons. What's going on at the rink? Well, there's senior game Saturday night, so they're putting it. It's giving somebody else an extra 4 or 5, maybe 8 hour shift. Our gas station's busy, our liquor store's busy, the pub's rocking before, during, and after games. Like it's huge for our community. Our minor hockey kids, like I noticed the competitiveness came to another level this year, almost to the point where we're trying to get a high school team now because I know
Yep.
that our if we have another midget rec team, it's like they're seeing this check and these kids want to check. It's changed. It's changed a lot of things in Doaktown, and I'm really hoping that we can keep this rolling because it has really changed our community. It's huge for the rink, huge for our kids, and huge. I mean, for the taxpayers of Doaktown too, we're putting a little more money in the bank. Not saying not too many rinks break even, but we are putting some money in the bank, and that helps a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love to hear that. The impact senior hockey makes about these little towns like Doaktown or like Shippigan. It's huge. It's huge. And it's also, like you said, unites a community. It's a beautiful thing. You talked about high school hockey. High school hockey is very competitive. It's phenomenal. And you guys are trying to get a high school team in Doaktown. Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, we've got a great group of kids coming up through the pipe. Our U15 team's coming well. There's some uh, good leadership there in the grade 12 that we're trying to get on board. And it's a provincial league. It would be high school A. Blackville has a team. They had won provincials there a couple of years ago. They've been great with talking to us, trying to get it off the ground. But yeah, we're hoping for it. Again, that would be it would be huge for the rink. Like right now, a minor hockey game is 3 12-minute periods. Kids show up, they play an hour of hockey, and they go home. There's no intermission. There's nowhere for your canteen to make money unless you have 2 or 3 games to make a little money in between the games. So it would be huge to have 2 nights a week packed, because I think our lumberjack fans would really they jump on and support the high school as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's high school in a nutshell, I guess.
And it's a great way to kind of prepare kids to maybe make the jump to be a lumberjack one day. Um,
Yeah, well, right now
Definitely.
I don't know if anybody, I think maybe other than Shippigan, we're the only team that doesn't have, we can't really draw from an area that has had a junior A team.
Okay.
So I know a high school is not much of a feeder, but at least we have some kids maybe playing some contact hockey that could hopefully feed into senior someday.
Yeah, I mean, high school, some solid BSHL players have played high school, especially now. It's getting more and more competitive every year. Um, let's talk a bit about one of my favorite topics, food. The Doaktown burger.
That's
became
not that
kind of
much
like
fun.
the topic. Oh yeah, you bet your ass is going to come up. It became kind of a topic of the podcast. We laughed about it. Maybe we got some shit from a couple towns. I remember we went up north and they were like, "Try the burger. It's as good as the Doaktown burger." It wasn't. It just wasn't, and we're honest about it. Like they have great food. The poutine out there is out of this world, but the burger in Doaktown is something special. Have you had the Renews burger?
We have. I've grew up playing my minor hockey against Renews. Great burger. Um, I think where our burger stands out is we're given a 6 ounce burger. We're given a maybe I'll get in trouble for saying this. We're given a man's burger. We're given a big chunk of fresh meat. None of our burgers are frozen. Any burger that we have left over after the weekend, we freeze that and we use that to make chilies. We don't serve frozen burgers. You'll see a lot of rinks throw a frozen burger out of a freezer on a grill, and I'm sorry, but your quality's not there if you're freezing your burger.
Okay, so now
And
here's
we also have like Alana's a great friend of mine who cooks there, and she grew up across the road from me, and I had to go fishing, but I went after her because she's known as one of the better cooks in the area, and people know that, and it's starting to show in our takeout now. We're doing more takeout orders because we've got a name for ourselves, Alana and Lorraine. They run a good tight ship in there.
Alana's awesome. She's such a sweetheart. Now this is a family one, but Doug Cook is my cousin by marriage, and Caleb's my
Nice.
cousin. Um, what about the Stanley Burger? Where does it stand in this?
Well, see, Stanley's the big rival for Doaktown, and they think they have the best burger, but they don't have the best burger, and they won't even try our burger. That's how they know. I know we have a better burger than Stanley's. They won't even try our burger. I have the sign up that says best burger. Sorry, the best rank burger in MB. And they always chirp me when they come in about it, but they never back it up by trying it because they're scared that they're going to get a better burger. But Sydney, the cook in Stanley, I will say I've eaten a fair share of those burgers, and they're a very very close second. They're not a bad burger by any means. He puts out some great food. They've got one thing Stanley has. I know you guys talk about Spring Hill and pizza. Stanley's got a pizza machine in there, and they do
Yeah,
homemade pizzas. So they've got a great pizza too. But yeah, Stanley's got great food. Their burger's just not quite as good as ours.
all right. I had a feeling that was going to be the answer. But that's all right. Talk about managing the rink a bit behind the scenes. What's it like? How long are your days? How long are those? You know, you have hockey from early morning. Some senior games don't finish until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. Some long days. You got to commit hardcore to manage a rink.
Yeah, I've got a great support system now. I put long days through the weekends, but it through the week is a great gig. I go in at 4:30, 5 o'clock. I mean, there's once a week where I do my ice maintenance where I'm changing blades and edging ice and cleaning and all that stuff. We're always cleaning. We're not arena managers. We're cleaners. We're glorified janitors, I guess, that get to drive the Zamboni. Um, but yeah, one day a week I'll go in early, but other than that, through the week it's usually evenings. I do have a really good assistant, Nathan Kelly, who's taking a little bit of stress off me. He'll work a couple days, so I finally get some days off. But those Saturdays, man, they start at 6:30 in the morning, and we get out of there sometimes at 4:30 in the morning. It just depends on the day and the crowd. It depends on the crowd. Now those Elsie games, um, we yeah, like they were the biggest crowd. They were they were
Yeah.
they were bigger than even Miramichi. Elsie seemed to bring more fans than Miramichi did, and I mean, we would if you're gonna put 1,000 people in a little building like that, you got to expect a mess. So you got to clean it back up because usually Sunday morning we're right back at it again.
How man, how is that even like the amount of people that were packed in those barns for Elsie, but somehow it just works. I don't even remember waiting in a line for the washroom. Like it just works. Your rink is one of my favorite rinks in the league personally. I just like the feel. You have a good view. If I had one complaint, it's that there's black netting. Can't stand black netting. Sure wish it was white so we could get better video. But other than that, it's just a phenomenal rink.
Yeah, the netting that pisses me off too. It's just something that the decision makers at the time went with black, and I'm still not sure why. We've talked about changing it, just looking at it and what's best. Somebody will complain about the new one too. So, um, but yeah. Yeah, we got a great little barn. I think it's the atmosphere in the smaller rinks, right? When you get people wrapped around the end zones, 3 and 4 deep. Uh, not all on the same side. Maybe you got two people cheering for Elsie and two people cheering for the Lumberjacks, and it creates a good atmosphere. All of a sudden, you're watching the game, but then you're watching the sideshow as well.
Oh
And
yeah,
we've seen a few sideshows in Doaktown this year, which is awesome.
yeah.
It brings out the fans. It brings out you'll have a little ruckus or maybe two guys chirping between dressing rooms. And then all of a sudden, everybody wants to know what Tim Hortons score, what went on between the dressing rooms, right? Like, it's good. It's good for everybody.
I agree. I think it's great for everybody. Let's switch topics again. Let's talk about Flow Hockey. You guys have a great little brand that you're building, and it's really growing. You guys are doing great. Talk to me about it.
Oh yeah, it's coming. When the local minor hockey stopped, we thought we were done. Done as in like maybe just going to slow down for a bit. And then this monster that is spring hockey took over, and all of a sudden it was hockey bags, pant covers. And any of you guys, any of you team owners, I'll get you the best price on jerseys, pant covers, socks, any of that stuff. I promise you I'll get you the best price and very good quality hoodies, hats, anything you want. I can get it for you. I promise you, cheaper than anybody else, and it's going to be the top quality. My son and I started it. My two boys. And then I guess we get tied up in it too, just kind of on the ownership side, and found a great supplier overseas. They actually make our hoodies. They're made by the same people that make Carhartt hoodies.
Okay.
So you're getting the chrome tip strings and all that. Got a great supplier for hats, toques, and yeah, it's fun. It's different. I own food trucks. Before I get into the rink business, I was running food trucks for about 10 years. So it's not food. It's a different business. What's in today is out tomorrow. So you're always kind of thinking, whereas if you're selling a poutine out of a food truck, that poutine's going to stay in for a while.
Which do you enjoy more, food trucks or clothing businesses? What do you have more fun with?
I loved the food truck business. Anybody that knows me knows that I was very passionate about it. I was working 320 days a year, made a lot of money, didn't have a life. Uh, I worked with my cousin hand in hand, and she was the reason we kept going. We had such a good relationship. We laughed, no matter how busy or how stressful we were. We could laugh it off. So we had a great time at the food trucks. But flow's different. I like learning new things. My wife's she's off work sick, and she knows what's in, so she kind of runs that side of it. Just kind of like just telling me what to buy and where to go and what I should try, and just typical wife telling me what to do, I guess.
Yeah.
And then the boys, sometimes they're all in on it. Sometimes they don't want anything to do with it now. My daughter's actually stepped up. She does a lot. She's been going to different places selling and stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun. It's different. It's fun. I don't know where it's gonna go, but we gotta learn the ropes a bit on how to get our stuff out there. But we do have a new online store. You can check us out on Facebook, and we've got a whole new lineup coming here for the new hockey season too. Yeah, that's Flow in a nutshell.
Yeah, Flow's great, man. I love the hats, love the toques. Definitely check them out. And yeah, if you're looking for a jersey or some equipment stuff, summer hockey's coming up. Hit him up, Mark Betts on Facebook, Flow Hockey. Is there anything we didn't touch on, Mark? Anything you want to talk about?
No, I hope the fight rule changes. We had guys that can fight that didn't even fight this year. Fighting's a huge part of senior hockey, and I feel like the league's proven that we don't have these bullshit fighters. We don't have guys just running out making embarrassing the league. We've got good guys like I said, Kenny Robinson, Benji. These guys can play. I mean, there's room for the. I mean, Brandon Kenny can play too, but there's room for that tough guy too, who's not still going out and doing stupid things. People aren't getting hurt, but putting on a show for the crowd. I mean, these small towns, they want to see that small town hockey because we're not getting it. We get it in the playoffs a little bit, but we don't get it in the NHL. We don't get it in a junior hockey. And I say bring that ship, bring it good. I don't care if they've got to pay more money for insurance and they get two fights a game. I know they're probably not going to go that way, but the rule does have to change, or at least the very least reset it come playoff time, so that you're like I'm a believer that if there was no fight rule, I think the Lumberjacks beat Dalhousie. I think we can intimidate them. We're deeper when it comes to fighting. They had some skill there, but when it came to fighting, I mean, we had guys watch the videos on YouTube. Zach Whitlock used to fight all the time. He hasn't fought this year. He's a big boy. He maybe fought once last year, but we're a tough team up and down the lineup. And I think if the fight rule changes, and maybe some of these teams will hear this and won't vote for it because of this, but I think we would have beat Dalhousie if the fight rule wasn't what it was.
I think everybody across the league wants to see the fight rule change. It's a Hockey New Brunswick thing. I think it's something that's going to come up in discussions. But yeah, I'm with you. I'd love to see it go back to the way that it was. We'll see what happens. We're a long ways from October, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no. Well, thanks for what you guys do. It's huge. Again, there's people in our small town that can't afford to go to Dalhousie to watch those games.
Yeah.
But to be able to sit at home and watch that, like that's that makes such a difference for our home rink, because I know they're going to be here on the Saturday night, and then all of a sudden they know what happened up there in Game 4, so they're going to be here for Game 5. Like what you guys do. Like don't overlook that, because it's huge for the league, and I'm sure there's not a great big bunch of money in it. I wish there was ways you could get compensated. I hope the teams. I'm not sure if they charge you guys to get in. I hope they don't. And I mean, even for the publicity for the rinks, I hope that they look after you guys, because you really deserve it. It's huge for the league, and I think what you guys are doing is part of the reason all these barns are packed. Everybody, social media is where it's at, and everybody knows what's going on. Everybody's in the loop. Everybody knows the past. They know. That's how you get to know these other teams' players, because nobody's really. I think there's only a couple teams showing up with their team names on the back of their jerseys, because nobody wants to take that into the visiting barn. But because of you guys, everybody knows the players and the gossip, and that's what these small towns want.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Thanks to you for giving us the Wi-Fi at Prospect Place. Because of that, it's one of the best streams we can get in the league. So, man, get some white netting next time, though. It'll only increase our quality. But you guys have been a huge supporter, and we definitely appreciate you guys too. So, thanks for coming on. I'm sure we'll have you back on to have a chat again, maybe next off season. But stay in touch.
All right, we'll see you in September.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Corey.